Fox News alert now because the U.S. market's tanking at the end of a rocky week on Wall Street. Here's a look at where things are right now. We're down 416. The Dow dropping over 500 points at one point today. Oil trading at its lowest level since 2003. Ohio Governor John Kasich, Republican presidential candidate and hopeful, joins me now from New Hampshire. Governor, you focused on the economy last night in the debate, and I want to go back in time just a few days to President Obama and his State of the Union, where he said this: anyone claiming that America's economy is in decline is peddling fiction. It looks pretty real to the American people today, does it not?
Well, Gretchen, this is the slowest recovery that we've had coming out of World War II. I mean, usually after a deep recession, you end up getting a real big spurt of economic growth, which we're not getting in this country. And it's putting the wind in the face of all the governors that are trying to create an environment for job growth. And look, this is happening for two reasons now. Obviously, because the Chinese factor, the Chinese market beginning to settle to a much more realistic level of value.
Right.
And secondly, the problem with oil dropping so low is it kind of portends our country's really not doing well economically,
okay,
so they're not in a position to be able to use energy. So this is, the president was wrong about that, he is wrong about it, period.
Well, then what would a Republican president do differently? Because can a Republican president really make a difference with China and their markets and the price of oil?
Well, look, I mean, number one is we got to get our economy moving, and we also are very dependent on countries that are located in Europe, which is a good thing that we're diversified in terms of the revenues that our businesses need. But there'd be three things. One is we need common sense regulations to stop choking off economic growth. We need a simpler tax system for people, individuals, and lower taxes for corporations. And finally, we need to have a path to a balanced budget. All of that is the formula that always works. And if we do it, we're going to see economic growth here. And as we get stronger, it will help the world. There's no question about it. This will end at some point.
Okay.
The Chinese will come to an equilibrium, and we're going to be all right.
All right. Fingers crossed on that. You know, it was interesting in watching all of the people in talking about the debate last night. The last time around, they said you interrupted too much. This time around, they said when you did interrupt, you actually did it on a very good point when you were speaking about China. But then in the end, they say John Kasich somehow just missing from the highlight reel. What do you need to do to get back into the highlight reel?
Yell, insult, criticize. It's just not me. And look, I don't need to get into the highlight reel. I'm in the highlight reel in New Hampshire. I'm now running second in 3 of the last 4 polls. And New Hampshire will be the opportunity for me to break out. And I am not going to yell. I'm not going to make wild promises. It's just not who I am. And so, Gretchen, I'm very happy. You know, I just finished a town hall meeting here. I've done well over 50. People here are signing up. We just got endorsed by the Portsmouth Herald today.
Yep, I see that.
I think it is working. And look, I just want people to know who I am. I want them to know a little bit about my heart, my personality, and I thought it was really good last night. I enjoyed it, and I thought the moderators did a really good job.
Well, thank you for saying that. Okay, during another part of the debate, you were asked about the Democratic side of the presidential race, saying that you know who won't be the nominee. Here it is.
What does it say about our country that a candidate who is a self-avowed socialist and who doesn't think a 90% tax rate is too high could be the Democratic nominee?
Well, if that's the case, we're going to win every state. If Bernie Sanders is the nominee, that's not even an issue. But look, and I know Bernie, and I can promise you he's not going to be president of the United States.
Wow, that was a big declaration. In fact, I tweeted right after you said that and said, are we so sure about that? How are you so sure he's not the Democratic nominee?
Well, nobody that's advocating a 90% tax rate or calling themselves a socialist going to win. Look, I grew up in a family. My father was a Democrat. I grew up in a Democrat community, and that's just not going to happen. I mean, he's getting a lot of interest because he's talking about income inequality, but I see no way that the Democratic Party would allow him to be the nominee. And look, I don't mean anything personal about Bernie. I know him. I work with him.
Right.
He's, but you know, he could be president, but maybe of Ben and Jerry's. Those are his buddies. And I do love that ice cream, though. I will tell you that.
All right, but still, Hillary Clinton can't tell us the difference in a definition between a socialist and a Democrat. So somebody's going to have to stand up on that side and let us know what the difference is.
Absolutely
good luck as you
right.
continue going throughout New Hampshire. We'll see how it all plays out for you, Governor. Thanks for being on The Real Story.
All right, Gretchen. Thank you. It's always good to be with you. Thank you.
Thanks.